When man rejected heaven's government, he became the source of his own governing program. The results ever since have proven that we need help. The Creator's intent was to administrate earth government from heaven through his image, nature, in man, and thus manifest his nature and character on earth. God's government is a unique structure that is yet misunderstood. I would at this point describe it as a corporate kingdom government. Government by corporate leadership, the theocratic order of a king over kings as partners in governing. This is what we would call the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom government concept is God's idea. However, when man rejected heaven's government, he had no choice but to accept as an alternative the disappointing plethora of human attempts at government. When the children of Israel left the land of Egypt, as recorded in the Exodus story, God instructed Moses to advise them that they would be governed by the laws of heaven and led by God himself as their heavenly king on earth. This was the first step in God's plan to reinstate the kingdom of heaven on earth once again, using a small nation of slaves as his prototype. He expressed his divine desire through Moses, stating, "Now, if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations you will be my treasured possession. Although the whole earth is mine, you will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation." These are the words you are to speak to the Israelites. Exodus 19 and 5 through 6. Here we see God's intent for the nation to be governed by heaven from heaven and to be an expression of his kingdom on earth. Israel rejected theocracy, the rule of a gracious and loving king who would protect and provide for them. Instead, they substituted a king for the king. Their decision led to calamitous consequences. The fall of man was not the loss of heaven, but rather the loss of the kingdom government of heaven on earth. Any honest human taking a serious look at the conditions of our planet would have to conclude that earth is in need of a new, or in this case, an alternative form of government. The spiritual, social, economic, physical, environmental, and cultural conditions of our earth demand a government that is superior to any we have yet invented. Perhaps the answer to man's need for an effective and just government is found in the first official words of Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago, as he announced this primary mission and commented on the human conditions. From that time on, Jesus began to preach, "Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is near." Matthew 4:17. "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Matthew 5 and 3. Here we note that Jesus' assessment of man's spiritual and social hunger and poverty of soul can be satisfied only by receiving the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom is the only source of true joy for the heart of man. Jesus' announcement identified his stated solution to man's earthly condition. The kingdom of heaven is near, or has arrived. The kingdom concept originates in the mind of God and was the original governing system designed for earth. The ideal kingdom is such a beautiful idea that only God could have thought of it. And it is the only system of government that can bring the peace, equality, and fulfillment that mankind longs for. I use the term ideal kingdom concept because historically man has attempted to imitate and duplicate the heavenly design of the kingdom with disappointing results. Man's efforts to establish kingdom government has produced defective, oppressive, and destructive models that have not only fallen short of the noble aspirations of man, but has also inflicted negative repercussions on his fellow men. In essence, mankind's rejection of heaven's kingdom model has led to the abolition of peace and the installation of inferior forms of government. Some governments are better than others, but all are inferior of God's government, the kingdom of heaven. The government of man versus the government of God. The Bible is the most misunderstood book on planet Earth, not only by those who do not prescribe to it, but also by many of those who claim to know and embrace its message. Simply stated, the Bible is about a king, a kingdom, and a royal family of children. The Bible is not about religion and was never intended to be a religious book. Rather, its story and message are about the desire of a king to extend his kingdom to new territories through his royal family. The Bible, therefore, is about government and governing. What is government? Government is about order, influence, administration, distribution, protection, maintenance, accountability, responsibility, and productivity. Technically speaking, government is the person, group, or organization that executes the functions of governing. This is manifested in the exercise of authority and jurisdiction over territory and a citizenry. Government was first established by the command and mandate of God to Adam and incorporates the need to order, work, oversee, guard, and protect. The roots of government in the Western world reach back to the world of the Greeks. In Greek government, kybernetes literally means to steer, to pilot, or to act as a rudder. Without law and government, we have chaos. So, government is the power given or derived for the purpose of making and enforcing laws for a certain territory. Governing incorporates the concepts of both power and authority. These two are distinct from each other and must be fully understood in order to appreciate the proper context of government. Both authority and power must be in balance for government to be successful. Authority has to do with responsibility, while power has to do with ability. Authority has to do with empowerment. Power focuses on exercising authority. Authority gives power its legality. Power without legitimate authority is dictatorship and inevitably results in abuse, oppression, and destruction. Authority gives power its rights. Authority is the key of successful government. If the ruling power does not have authority, it cannot govern. The authority to govern either is given by way of a popular vote or derived by way of inherent authority. Earthly governments derive their authority from the people either through a process of choice or by usurping authority through force. For instance, a president or premier or prime minister is imbued with authority by the people who voted him or her into power. In kingdoms, however, authority is inherited and a product of the rights of ownership. This concept is crucial in understanding the nature of kingdoms. God's authority as king is inherent. No one gives him authority. He has authority because of who he is and because he created the earth and everything that lives on the earth. That is why Jesus could say that all authority had been given to him. His Father had all authority and therefore had the right to give it to his Son. The Father had creative rights to the whole universe. The governments of this earth get their authority by way of vote or violence. It is not inherited authority. The only government on the earth that represents inherent authority is a monarchy.